9.3 is on surface area of pyramids and cones. When we're talking about a pyramid, the base of a pyramid is a polygon, and it has what we call lateral faces or triangles with a common vertex. Okay, so here is the height of a pyramid. The height of a pyramid goes from the vertex down to the center of the base. That's the total height. If you were to actually measure from the bottom to the top, straight up, that's the height. The slant height is the height from the peak to the edge of the pyramid, which of course is called a slant height because it's a slanted height, it's not the straight up and down height. Presented by the letter L. We always use L as the slant height. Now these are called the lateral faces. They're the triangle faces of a pyramid. Okay, the base could be a rectangle, could be a triangle, could be many different things, but the faces are all triangles. It says find the slant height of the rainforest pyramid. Round your answer to the nearest whole number. Okay, to find the slant height, we have basically a rectangle with triangle sides, and we know that the height of this comes to the center. We also know that this is half of the edge. So we know that this is 100. The height is 100. We know that this edge here is 100. And we know that this makes up the hypotenuse of that right triangle. So we have one leg, a second leg, and then the hypotenuse. Okay, so we know this is 100, this is 100, and the hypotenuse, let's call L for the slant height. So what we need to use is the Pythagorean theorem. We know that L squared is going to be equal to 100 squared plus 100 squared. Okay, so we know that this is L squared. We know this is 10,000. We know this is 10,000. And so L squared is equal to 20,000. Or L is approximately the square root of 20,000, which is, do that quick, 141.42, but rounded to a whole number is 141. So the slant height is 141 feet. All right, the surface area of a pyramid, if you were to open it up in the net, like we talked about before, you're going to have the base, the area of the base, which is a rectangle or a square or a triangle. Then you're going to have all of the surfaces or faces that are all the same triangle, or it could be all the same triangle. Now, the height is the slant height. And the area of one of these triangles is 1/2 the base of this, or one side of the triangle or rectangle, times the slant height. If you add up all the bases, the sides of the bases, it's the perimeter of the base. So that's why they use the perimeter of the base as part of this formula. Okay, so to find the surface area, you take the area of the base plus you find the perimeter of the base and you multiply that times 1/2 times the slant height, which will be all of the areas of the triangles. So you're adding those two things together. Okay, to find the surface area of this pyramid, we use the formula. The area of the base plus 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the slant height. Since the area of the base is a rectangle, or it's actually a square, it's 6 squared plus 1/2 times the perimeter of the base is 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6, or 24. And the slant height, we don't know. So we have to do some side work. We're going to do some side work to find the slant height. We know that this is the center triangle here. I kind of went down too much on that, so just a second. We know the center triangle is right here. The height is 4. This side is 1/2 of 6, so 3, and this is the slant height. So we don't know what that is. But we do know the slant height squared is 4 squared plus 3 squared. Now that's a Pythagorean triple. If you recall the Pythagorean triples, which are just over here to the right, one Pythagorean triple is 3, 4, 5. So I know this is 5. So I have to plug that in. Now I can calculate my surface area. So my surface area is 36 plus 12 times 5 is 60, which is 96, and then of course feet squared. There is my surface area of this pyramid. Okay, you try it. It looks like they give us the slant height, but not the height. We don't need to know the height when we find surface area. They give us the slant height here, but here they give us the height, not the slant height. So when you take your time to do this, go ahead and calculate the slant height first on number 3 before you calculate the surface area. I'll work through these here in a minute. Pause the video, try them, and then come back and I'll get through them. Okay, welcome back. So we know the surface area of a pyramid is the area of the base times 1/2 the perimeter times the slant height. Plus, not equals. The area of the base is 49 because it's 7 squared. Plus 1/2 the perimeter of the base. There's 4 sides that are all 7, so 4 times 7 is 28, and the slant height is 9. So that's 49 plus 1/2 of 28 is 14. 14 times 9 is 126, I believe. Let's make sure of that. Let's see, 14 times 9, 126. You add those together, and it's 175 inches squared. Okay, the next one, the surface area is the area of the base plus 1/2 the perimeter of the base times the slant height. The surface area is the area of the base. This is the area of the base, so it's 35.1 plus 1/2 the perimeter. They're all the same sides of a triangle, so that's 27. There's 3 of them. And the slant height is 12. So the surface area is 35.1 plus half of 12 is 6. 6 times 27 is 162, I believe. Let me just make sure. I think I'm doing this right, but 6 times 27. 162. Add these together, and you get 197.1 centimeters squared. Okay, let's erase that. Give you a second to look at it. Erase it, and I'm going to work out number 3. Okay, so number 3, we have surface area is again area of the base plus 1/2 the perimeter times the slant height. Area of the base, it looks like it's a square again, so it's 10 squared or 100 plus 1/2 the perimeter, which is 4 times 10, so 40, plus the slant height. Now the slant height this time we have to figure it out. We have a triangle, here's L, here's 12, here's 5, and I think if you look at the Pythagorean triples, L is 13. So we end up with 100 plus 20 times 13 is 260, or 360 feet squared. Now we're moving on to the surface area of a cone. Just like the surface area of a pyramid, it's almost identical. The slant height is the height that goes from the vertex to the edge of the base. The height goes to the center of the base. And of course, the distance from the center to the edge is the radius. The area is almost identical to the pyramid. The area of the base plus pi RL. Now, they do this because I would just go with it. I would just go with what it is. And the area, if you can't read it here, it's in your book, but pi r squared plus pi RL. And that is the area, surface area of a cone. Pi r squared plus pi RL. So when we use that formula, if we're looking for surface area, it's pi r squared plus pi RL. The pi r squared is the area of the circle, so it's pi times 4 squared plus pi times 4, and then the slant height is 6. So we go ahead and just calculate it. We get 16 pi plus 24 pi, which is 40 pi, which of course then you can figure it out. 40 times the pi button on the calculator is 126, approximately 126 inches squared. All right, this time we have to figure out the slant height. And just like we did in the last problem, the height is 5, the radius is 12. This has to be 13 because 5, 12, 13 is a Pythagorean triple. You can use the Pythagorean theorem to figure that out if you have to. So we know that the surface area is pi r squared, which the r is 12, plus pi 12 times 13. So it's 144 pi plus 156 pi. Yes. which equals 300 pi, which is approximately 300 times pi, 942 feet squared. Okay, try these, pause the video, try these and see if you get the right answer. Now, the tricky part on number 5 is they give you the diameter. Make sure you only use the radius, which of course is half the diameter. Number 6, you have to figure out the slant height. Number 4, they give you it all, so it's okay. So go ahead, pause the video and try it. Pi r squared plus pi rl, pi r squared plus pi rl, pi r squared plus pi rl. Always write the formula down, then start filling them in. Pi times 10 squared plus pi times 10 times 12. So this is 100 pi plus 120 pi, which is equal to 220 pi, which is approximately 220 times pi, 691 inches squared. This one is pi times 4 squared because it's 4 is your radius, plus pi times 4 times 8. So that's 16 pi plus 32 pi is 48 pi, which is approximately 48 times pi, 151 feet squared. And the last one, since the height is 4 and the radius is 3, we know the slant height is 5. 3, 5, 4 is a Pythagorean triple. So I used the formula here. I've got surface area is the radius squared, which is 3 squared, which is 9 pi. R is 3, the slant height is 5, so that's 15 pi. And so I know the surface area is 24 pi, which the surface area is approximately 24 pi. It would be half of 48 pi, so it would be 76 feet squared. And that's it for section 9.3.